James Bowders holding P8. James Bowders goes green in Sector 1. Switching to AMP3, Frank Radosti. Matthew Overton catching up to Michael Lock in PRO. Let's see it from Gilles Lalonde's perspective in the number 203 Dallara IR8. 10 minutes to go. P8 for Gilles Lalonde, a quiet run so far. Gilles Lalonde finding time in Sector 1. On board with Matthew Overton in the number 174 Dallara IR18. Impressive consistency from Frank Radosti. AM driver Karl Struhel has the edge on entry to turn 1. AM driver Karl Struhel braking deeper into turn 1. Oh, Matthew Overton has spun in PRO. Let's see that again. Back to Frank Radosti, running P3. Daryl Kruger currently P4 in AM. You could set your watch by Daryl Kruger's lap times. Here's the view from Daniel Kirby's halfway point, 8 minutes remaining. Daniel Kirby is in a real groove, metronome laps. PRO driver Daniel Kirby gets a better exit from turn 1. PRO driver Daniel Kirby is quicker on the power out of turn 1. PRO driver Daniel Kirby accelerating harder from turn 1. Strong drive. Oh, Gilles Lalonde lost the rear in PRO. Here's the replay. Returning to Daniel Kirby in P1 in better entry speed for PRO driver Matthew Overton. Switching to Norm Graf's onboard in the number 1 Dallara IRR88. AM driver Daryl Kruger has the advantage at turn 1. Different approaches at straight 2. AM driver Norm Graf carries more speed. AM driver Daryl Kruger accelerates harder. AM driver Norm Graf is quicker on the power out of straight 2. Better traction for AM driver Norm Graf out of straight 2. AM driver Norm Graf accelerating harder from straight. On board with Daryl Kruger in the number 404 Dallara IR18. AM driver Daryl Kruger gets a better exit from turn 1. Better traction for AM driver Daryl Kruger out of turn 1. AM driver Karl Struhel is quicker on the power out of straight 2. AM driver Karl Struhel accelerating harder from straight 2. AM driver Karl Struhal gets a better exit from straight 2. AM driver Karl Struhal is quicker on the power out of straight 2. Better traction for AM driver Karl Struhal out of straight 2. Strong drive out of straight 2 for AM driver Karl Struhal. Let's see it from Karl Struhal's perspective in the number 42 IR 18. Impressive consistency from Karl Struhal. AM driver Karl Struhal is quicker on the power out of turn 1. AM driver Karl Struhal accelerating harder from turn 1. AM driver Karl Struhal gets a better exit from turn 1. Switching to Michael Ock's onboard in the Let's Ride with Paul Ibbotson in the number 165 IR 18. A spin for Paul Ibbotson in PRO. 5 minutes left in the session. We're back with Paul Ibbotson in now on board with Daniel Kirby driving the number 90 IR 18. You could set your watch by Daniel Kirby's lap times. That's where PRO driver Gil Lalonde is making time through turn 1. PRO driver Gil Lalonde consistently faster through turn 1. Turn 1 is where PRO driver Gilles Lalonde pulls away. That's where PRO driver Gilles Lalonde is making time through. Switching to Michael Ock's onboard in the number 202 IR 18. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde is quicker on the power out of turn 1. Strong drive out of turn 1 for PRO driver Gilles Lalonde. PRO driver Michael Ock consistently faster through turn 1. PRO driver Michael Ock has the advantage at turn 1. Turn 1 is where PRO driver Michael Ock pulls away. PRO driver Michael Ock consistently faster through turn 1. PRO driver Michael Ock has the advantage at turn 1. That's where PRO driver Michael Ock is making time through turn 1. Frank Radosti is in a real groove, metronome laps. Better traction for AM driver Frank Radosti out of straight 2. AM driver Frank Radosti gets a better exit from straight. On board with Norm Graf in the number 1 Dallara IRA 8. Remarkably consistent from Norm Graf. AM driver Karl Struhal accelerating harder from turn 1. AM driver Karl Struhal is quicker on the power out of turn 1. AM driver Karl Struhal gets a better exit from turn 1. Better traction for AM driver Karl Struhal out of turn 1. AM driver Karl Struhal is quicker on the power. Oh, Gilles Lalonde has spun in PRO. Let's see that again. Back to Norm Graf running P1 in. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson accelerating harder from turn 1. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson gets a better exit from turn 1. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson is quicker on the power. Oh, 2 minutes remaining. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson accelerating harder from turn 1. You could set your watch by Paul Ibbotson's lap times. Pro driver Matthew Overton is quicker through. Now on board with Matthew Overton driving the number 174 IR 18. Better traction for PRO driver Matthew Overton out of turn 1. PRO driver Matthew Overton gets a better exit from turn 1. PRO driver Matthew Overton accelerating harder from turn 1. Strong drive out of turn 1 for PRO driver Matthew Overton. PRO driver Matthew Overton is quicker on the power out of turn 1. PRO driver Matthew Overton accelerating. 1 minute to go. Ibbotson lost the rear in PRO. Here's the replay. Returning to Paul Ibbotson in P3. Now with AMP3, Frank Radosti. Frank Radosti has completed 10 laps now. The checkered flag is out for qualifying. We'll have the results once timing and scoring confirm the final order.
Okay, it looks like everybody. Well done, Daniel, out there on your own, putting out some fabulous laps, and then Mika and Paul rounding out the Pro Top, and then Norm taking the AM lead with Carl and Frank second and third in the qualifying. So good runs out there, guys. Should be an interesting race, and yeah. So we'll take the full 10 minutes just to let everyone get back in the swing of things, and then we'll be off and running.
Man, I suck at qualifying.
Well, that's usually my refrain.
I don't know. I always overdrive the shit out of it.
That's what qualifying's about. Not quite overdriving it.
I'm always happy when I've gone faster in qualifying than ever before. So that 14, that was my first 14.9. So I was happy there.
There you go. That's the deal, right? Always putting out your best.
Hey, I have a question about the push to pass.
Yes, sir.
So it's 15
Qualifying
seconds per
classification
lap.
confirmed. PR results. Daniel
Yep.
Kirby in the number
when you're
90
coming out of the
Dallara
last
IR18
turn,
on
if
pole
you
with
activate it
112.715.
Does it
Michael
automatically
Locke second.
cancel when you go
Paul
across the
Ibbotson
start
third.
finish, or does it
In AM's
start
Norm Graph in the number 1 Dallara
using-
It'll stay
IR18
on,
on
but
pole with
it'll start
114.314. Carl
Cool,
Struhol
okay,
in the number
thanks.
42 Dallara IR18
I
second with
was watching the other day,
114.956. Frank
recently,
Radosti in the number
when
403 Dallara IR18
And,
third with
the push to pass
115.574.
button,
Warm-up session
you
underway.
push it again
10
and
minutes to
the
prepare.
switch is off.
Yeah, you can do that on this car too.
Carl Struhol running in
If you want.
P7.
I thought when you pushed, you were on board for the 15 seconds.
No, you can turn it
No.
off.
Okay.
And I think when you hit the brakes, it turns
Or
off.
slight
and I
lift.
think-
Yeah, if you lift a
even if
little
you
bit,
lift off.
or you hit the brake, or you hit the button, you're off.
Thank you.
Sounds like someone's working on a little bit of strategy here.
I don't think there's enough people for a full course yellow.
Depends on how badly we pile up in T1.
It won't be T1, it'll be the chicane.
Yeah, that thing is killer.
It will be too close, they won't see the curb, hit the curb, go flying, and collect like 3 other people.
Here's a happy thought.
Paul Ibbotson cruising in P3. Now with the AM leader, Karl Struhel. Fastest in AM, Darrell Kruger, 1:17.877. P2, Karl Struhel, keeping it clean. A new session best through Sector 2 for Karl Struhel. Fastest Sector 3 of the session, Karl Struhel. P1 for Karl Struhel, a quiet run so far. Can Paul Ibbotson finally take that top step? 3 races in and still looking for a win. Let's ride with Daniel Kirby in the number 90 Dallara IR. 5 minutes left in the session. Daniel Kirby maintaining P3. Michael Lock fastest in PRO, 1:14.881. Spin for Paul Ibbotson in PRO. Let's take another look. We're back with Michael Lock in P1 in PRO. P1 Michael Lock, keeping it clean. Let's check on Darrell Kruger, P2 in AM. P2 for Gilles London in PRO with a 1:17.011. P4 for Darrell Kruger, a quiet run so far. That's Daryl Kruger's best sector 2 of the session. Two minutes remaining. Frank Radosti tops AM with a 1:16.610. That's 0.13 quicker than Karl Struhal. Let's see it from Frank Radosti's perspective in the number 403 Dallara IR18. Frank Radosti maintaining P2. Norm Graf has spun in AM. Let's see that again. 1 minute to go.
I left a wing on the front stretch for you.
Back to Frank Radosti, running P1 in AM.
I'll do it now. I'm not in the race.
It's okay. You put your rear wing over in the pit
A
road.
new personal best sector 1 there for Frank Radosti.
Oh, I got them both, huh?
Yeah.
Gilles Lalonde at the top of the standings, lining up P4 on the
You
grid.
get some fiberglass. You get some fiberglass. Everybody gets some fiberglass.
That's the end of the warm-up. Make sure you've got your race sets all in. We'll go have some fun. When RF2 decides we can have some fun. There we are.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Okay, 30 seconds. Ten seconds.
The grid is set. 10 cars in 2 classes ready to go. First up, PRO. On pole position, Daniel Kirby. Michael Lock, P2. At P3, Paul Ibbotson.
Let's just
P4,
take it
Matthew
nice
Overton.
and slow and zipper through some of these corners. It shouldn't be a problem.
Gilles Lalonde, P5. Next up, AM. Pole position for Norm Graf. In P2, Karl Struhal. P3, Frank Radosti. Daryl Kruger, P4. in P5, James Bowders.
I like how you got your name on the wing, Paul.
So you can see who you ram into.
I was just thinking the same thing. How handy is that?
Why mine normally says weasel tail. Good luck, everyone. See you on the other side.
Yeah, good race, everybody. Nice clean start, and let's not ball it up in T1 or the chicane.
Are yellows on?
We're racing for 55 laps at Indianapolis Grand Prix. 10 cars across 2 classes. Better traction for PRO driver Michael Lock out of... Oh, Michael Lock under pressure from Paul Ibbotson in the PRO fight for P2. PRO driver Michael Lock gets a better exit from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Michael Lock. PRO driver Michael Lock is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Better traction for PRO driver Michael Lock out of straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Michael Lock. Pro driver Michael Lock is quicker on the power out of straight 1. PRO driver Michael Lock accelerating harder from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Michael Lock. Paul Ibbotson goes green in sector 1. Nobody quicker than Paul Ibbotson in sector 3. Paul Ibbotson making a move on Michael Lock. Oh, here's Michael Lock's pass on Paul Ibbotson in PRO. We rejoin the PRO battle for P2, Paul Ibbotson and Michael Lock. Paul Ibbotson running 5.1 seconds behind the car ahead. Meanwhile, Norm Graf pitting from P10. Switching to James Bowders on board in the number 92 Dallara IR18. Another look at Michael Lock overtaking Paul Ibbotson in PRO. Returning to James Bowders in P4. Let's ride with Carl Struhl in the number 42 Dallara IR18. Fastest in AM, Carl Struhl, 1:17.279. They're nose to tail, 1.0 seconds apart. Action in PRO, Michael Lock versus Paul Ibbotson for P2. Better traction for PRO driver Michael Lock out of straight one. PRO driver Michael Lock gets a better exit from straight one. PRO driver Michael Lock accelerating harder from straight one. PRO driver Michael Lock is quicker on the power out of straight one. PRO driver Michael Lock braking deeper into turn one. PRO driver Michael Lock has the edge on entry to turn one. Battle for P6 in AM. AM driver Darrell Crew gets a better exit from straight one. AM driver Darrell Kruger accelerating harder from straight one. Strong drive out of straight one for AM driver Darrell. Oh, wheel to wheel in AM. On board with Frank Radosti in the number 403 Dallara IR 18. Better traction for AM driver Frank Radosti out of straight three. AM driver Frank Radosti accelerating harder from straight three. AM driver Frank Radosti gets a better exit from straight three. Strong drive out of straight three for AM driver Frank Radosti. Better traction for AM driver Frank Radosti out of straight three. Paul Ibbotson is all over Michael. Paul Ibbotson yet to stand on the top step this season, 3 rounds in. Michael Lock cruising in P2. Michael Lock has found some pace in the last few laps. Action in AM. Darrell Kruger versus Frank Radosti for P7. Darrell Kruger improves in sector 2. The gap is coming down for Frank Radosti. AM driver Darrell Kruger is quicker on the power out of straight one. Strong drive out of straight one for AM driver Darrell Kruger. Darrell Kruger running in P7. P7 Daryl Kruger 3.9 back from the next car. Switching to PRO leader Daniel Kirby. Daniel Kirby maintaining P1. Look at this AM battle. Now on board with Frank Radosti driving the number 403 Dallara IR 18. Better traction for AM driver Daryl Kruger out of straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger is quicker on the power out of straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger gets a better exit from straight 1. Better traction for AM driver Daryl Kruger out of straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for AM driver Daryl Kruger. AM driver Daryl Kruger accelerating harder. Oh, battle for P3 and PRO. Paul Ibbotson is struggling to maintain the pace. Action in AM, Daryl Kruger versus Frank Radosti for P7. AM driver Daryl Kruger gets a better exit from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for AM driver Daryl Kruger. AM driver Daryl Kruger is quicker on the power out of straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger accelerating harder from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for AM driver Daryl Kruger. AM driver Daryl Kruger gets a better exit from straight 1. Better traction for AM driver Daryl Kruger out of straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for AM driver Daryl. Daniel Kirby is in a real groove, metronome laps. Norm Graf still searching for that first win of the season after 4 starts. Daryl Kruger under pressure from Frank Radosti in the AM fight for P7. AM driver Daryl Kruger gets a better exit from straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger accelerating harder from straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger is quicker on the power out of straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger gets a better exit from straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger accelerating harder from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for AM driver Daryl Kruger. AM driver Daryl Kruger gets a better exit from straight 1. AM driver Daryl Kruger is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Better traction for AM driver Daryl Kruger. Let's see it from Michael Lock's perspective in the number 202 Dallara IR 18. Impressive consistency from Michael Lock. Michael Lock at P2, a gap of 5.1 to close. Frank Radosti is all over Daryl Kruger for P7 in AM. AM driver Frank Radosti accelerating harder from turn 1. AM driver Frank Radosti is quicker on the power out of turn 1. Better traction for AM driver Frank Radosti out of turn 1. AM driver Frank Radosti accelerating harder from turn 1. AM driver Frank Radosti gets a better exit from turn 1. Better traction for AM driver Frank Radosti out of turn 1. Strong drive out of turn 1 for AM driver Frank Radosti. AM driver Frank Radosti accelerating harder. Battle for P3 and PRO. Paul losing a bit of pace now, Paul Ibbotson. Action in AM. Daryl Kruger versus Frank Radosti for P7. AM driver Frank Radosti gets a better exit from turn 1. Better traction for AM driver Frank Radosti out of turn 1. Strong drive out of turn 1 for AM driver Frank Radosti. AM driver Frank Radosti accelerating harder from turn 1. AM driver Frank Radosti gets a better exit from turn 1. Strong drive out of turn 1 for AM driver Frank Radosti. AM driver Frank Radosti accelerating harder from turn 1. Better traction for AM driver Frank Radosti out of turn 1. AM driver Frank Radosti gets a better exit from turn 1. James Bowders heading into pit lane. Let's see Norm Grass move on James Bowders in AM. We're back with Daniel Kirby in P1 in PRO. Can Gilles Lalonde finally take that top step? Daryl Kruger trying to hold off Frank Radosti for P7 in AM. Daryl Kruger with 7.0 seconds of clear air ahead. Onboard with Daniel Kirby in the number 9. Frank Radosti lost the rear in AM. Here's the replay. Back to Daniel Kirby running P1 in PRO. James Bowders, third in the championship, pitting from P10. 14 laps completed by Daniel Kirby. Here's something interesting we missed. returning to Daniel Kirby in P1 in PRO. Paul Ibbotson, 7th in the championship, pitting from P4. Daniel Kirby leading the race. Darrell Kruger, 4th in the championship, pitting from P7. Switching to Michael Locks on board in the number 202 Dallar IR 18. Michael Locks' pace is fading. Let's see it from Matthew Overton's perspective in the number 174 Dallar IR 18. Norm Graf inherits P7 as Darrell Kruger comes in. Pit stop for Michael Lock, currently P2. Matthew Overton, 9th in the championship, pitting from P3. Darrell Kruger rejoins from the pits, 50-second stationary. Daniel Kirby back out on track after 48 seconds. Pit stop complete for Michael Lock, 48 seconds. Oh, Michael Lock is all over Gilles. Oh, here's that PRO pass by Gilles Lalonde on Michael Lock. Back to the fight for P2 in PRO between Gilles Lalonde and Michael Lock. Watch the braking into straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde is later there. Better entry speed for PRO driver Gilles Lalonde at straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde has the edge on entry to straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde carries more speed into straight one. Better entry speed for PRO driver Gilles Lalonde at straight one. Watch the braking into straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde is later there. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde has the edge on entry to straight one. Michael Lock going for it on Gilles Lalonde. Michael Lock. Oh, here's Michael Lock's pass on Gilles Lalonde in PRO. We're back with Michael Lock in P2 in PRO. Gilles Lalonde, 1st in the championship, pitting from P4. Norm Graf rejoins from the pits, 45 seconds stationary. Michael Lock now 17 laps done. Matthew Overton has ducked into the pits from P4. Darrell Kruger back out on track after 50 seconds. Pit stop complete for Daniel Kirby, 48 seconds. Karl Struhal, 6th in the championship, pitting from P6. Matthew Overton rejoins from the pits, 49 seconds stationary. Norm Graf, 2nd in the championship, pitting from P8. Frank Radosti, 8th in the championship, pitting from P10. Karl Struhal under pressure from Darrell Kruger in the AM fight for P6. Darrell Kruger is struggling to maintain the pace. AM driver Karl Struhal accelerating harder from straight 3. Strong drive out of straight 3 for AM driver Karl Struhal. Better traction for AM driver Karl Struhl out of straight 3. AM driver Karl Struhl accelerating harder from straight 3. Darrell Kruger getting around Daniel. Here's the view from Daniel Kirby's cockpit in the number 90 IR 18. The lap times are starting to drop off for Daniel Kirby. A solid 19 laps so far from Daniel Kirby. Purple sector 2 for Daniel Kirby. Daniel Kirby 20 laps in, holding a 9.5 second lead. Micah Lock's pace is fading. Matthew Overton yet to stand on the top step this season, 4 rounds in. Micah Lock holding P2. Micah Lock ticking off the laps on lap 21. On board with Daniel Kirby in the number 90 Dallara IR 18. Quicker laps now from Daniel Kirby. A 3-car battle. Michael. Michael Lock running 9.6 seconds behind the car ahead. Spin for James Boders in AM. Let's take another look. Back to Michael Lock, running P2 in PRO. P2 for Michael Lock, a quiet run so far. Let's look back at something we missed earlier. Returning to Michael Lock in P2. Now on board with Daniel Kirby driving the number 90 Dallara IRR 18. The times are coming down for Daniel Kirby. A tight championship battle, Norm Graf and Gilles Lalonde separated by 1 point. "25 laps completed by Daniel Kirby. Daniel Kirby with a 13.1 second advantage at the front. Daniel Kirby is getting into a rhythm now. Switching to Michael Lock's on board in the number 202 Dallara IRR 18. Quicker laps now from Michael Lock. Michael Lock cruising in P2. Micah Locke has completed 27 laps now. Norm Graf heading into pit lane. The times are coming down for Micah Locke. We're at the halfway mark, 27 laps to go. A solid 28 laps so far from Daniel Kirby. P1 Daniel Kirby, keeping it clean. Pit stop for Norm Graf, currently P8. Gilles Lalonde leads the championship, starting from P5 today. James Bowders has ducked into the pits from P9. Here's Micah Locke in P2 in PRO. Micah Locke running in P2. James Bowders back out on track after 58 seconds. Paul Ibbotson trying to hold off Matthew Overton for P3 in PRO. Losing a bit of pace now, Paul Ibbotson. A mere 1.5 seconds covering this intense fight. James Bowders heading into pit lane. PRO driver Matthew Overton. Oh, Matthew Overton challenge. Returning to the battle for P3 in PR Overton versus Paul Ibbotson. Daniel Kirby in from the lead for a pit stop. Pit stop complete for James Bowders, 58 seconds. Darrell Kruger, fourth in the championship, pitting from P7. Darrell Kruger rejoins from the pits, 49 seconds stationary. Matthew Overton is building a cushion. Big moment, Micah Lott pits from the lead. Let's ride with Paul Ibbotson in the number 165 Dallara IRA 18. PRO driver Matthew Overton carries more speed into straight one. Better entry speed for PRO driver Matthew Overton at straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton has the edge on entry to straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton carries more speed into straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton braking deeper. Here's the view from Daniel Kirby's cockpit in the number 90 Dallara IR 18. Daniel Kirby is struggling to maintain the pace. The leader Daniel Kirby has pitted. Matthew Overton, 9th in the championship, pitting from P3. Pit stop for Paul Ibbotson, currently P4. Micah Lott back out on track after 47 seconds. P3 now for Gilles Lalonde as the stops play out. James Bowders still searching for that first win of the season after 4 starts. Meanwhile, Darrell Kruger pitting from P8. Sector 1 purple for Daniel Kirby. Pit stop complete for Matthew Overton, 49 seconds. Paul Ibbotson rejoins from the pits, 50 seconds stationary. Darrell Kruger back out on track after 49 seconds. The lap times are starting to drop off for Daniel Kirby. Micah Lott in from the lead for a pit stop. Matthew Overton heading into pit lane. Matthew Overton's pace is fading. Paul Ibbotson has ducked into the pits from P5. The gap is stretching out for Paul Ibbotson. Pit stop complete for Micah Lott, 47 seconds. Pit stop for Carl Struhal, currently P6. Matthew Overton is reeling in Gilles Lalonde. Frank Radosti currently P5 in AM. Frank Radosti has slowed dramatically in AM. Here's the replay. We're back with Frank Radosti in P5 in AM. Battle for P3 in PRO. Gilles Lalonde and Matthew Overton. Gilles Lalonde is struggling to maintain the pace. Let's check on Michael Lock, P2 in PRO. Another look at Paul Ibbotson overtaking Gilles Lalonde in PRO. Back to Michael Lock running P2 in PRO. Action in PRO. Matthew Overton versus Paul Ibbotson for P3. Losing a bit of pace now, Paul Ibbotson. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson gets a better exit from straight 1. Better traction for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson out of straight 1. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson accelerating harder from straight 1. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson. Oh, Frank Radosti is in trouble in AM. Here's the replay. Returning to Frank Radosti in P. Oh, issues for Paul Ibbotson. Now on board with Paul Ibbotson driving the number 165 Dallara IR 18. Gilles Lalonde going for it on Paul Ibbotson. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson and PRO driver Gilles Lalonde trading time through straight 1. Here comes Paul Ibbotson on Gilles Lalonde. Paul Ibbotson gets it done into P4 in PRO. Can Matthew Overton finally take that top step? 4 races in and still looking for a win. The lap times are starting to drop off. Oh, while we were elsewhere, Frank Radosti stopped on track on lap 16. We're back with Paul Ibbotson in P4 in PRO. Gilles Lalonde versed in the championship, pitting from P5. Norm Graf heading into pit lane. Daryl Kruger is all over Gil. Switching to Daryl Kruger's on board in the number 404 Dallara IR 18. Daryl Kruger is getting into a rhythm now. Great progress from Daryl Kruger. Now P5 in AM. Daryl Kruger alongside Gilles Lalonde. Daryl Kruger works through traffic. Great M Racing, Gilles Lalonde. Let's see it from Karl Struwel's perspective in the number 42 Dallara IR 18. Karl Struwel is struggling to maintain the pace. Better entry speed for AM driver Karl Struwel at straight 1. Watch the braking into straight 1. AM driver Karl Struwel is later there. AM driver Karl Struwel has the edge on entry to straight 1. AM driver Karl Struwel braking deeper into straight 1. Watch the braking into straight 1. AM driver Karl Struwel is later there. AM driver Karl Struwel carries more speed into straight 1. Let's look back at when Paul Ibbotson came to a halt on lap 35. We rejoin the aim battle for P6, Karl Struhel and Gilles Lalonde. Trouble for Frank Radosti in AM. Losing a bit of pace now, Frank Radosti. Meanwhile, Norm Gruff pitting from P8. Look at this, 3 cars nose to tail, Darrell Kruger, Karl Struhel and Gilles Lalonde. Quicker laps now from Darrell Kruger. Norm Gruff rejoins from the pits, 48 seconds stationary. Frank Radosti had a significant problem on lap 18. Here's what we missed. Back to Darrell Kruger running P. Oh, action in AM. Karl Struhel versus Gilles Lalonde for P6. The lap times are starting to drop off for Gilles Lalonde. Better entry speed for AM driver Karl Struhel at straight 1. AM driver Karl Struhel has the edge on entry to straight 1. Watch the braking into straight 1. AM driver Karl Struhel is later there. AM driver Karl Struhel carries more speed into straight 1. Karl Struhel's pace is fading. We're a couple of minutes into this fight and still no resolution. Frank Radosti has ducked into the pits from P110. Here's the view from Darrell Kruger's cockpit in the number 404 Dallara IRAI-80. The times are coming down for Darrell Kruger. Darrell Kruger ticking off the laps on lap 40. P5 for Darrell Kruger, a quiet run so far. Battle for P6 in AM, Carl Struhal and Gilles Lalonde. Gilles Lalonde is struggling to maintain the pace. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde is faster in, but AM driver Carl Struhal gets the better exit from straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde with the entry, AM driver Carl Struhal with the exit at straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde and AM driver Carl Struhal trading time through straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde is faster in, but AM driver Carl Struhal gets the better exit from straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde with the entry, AM. The lap times are starting to drop off for Daniel Kirby. Carl Struhal has found some pace in the last few laps. Norm Graf yet to stand on the top step this season, 4 rounds in. Pit stop for James Bowders, currently P9. Ten left. Norm Graf, second in the championship, pitting from P8. James Bowders back out on track after 48 seconds. Carl Struhal is getting into a rhythm now. Now with the PRO leader, Daniel Kirby, 6th in the championship. Pit stop complete for Norm Graf, 63 seconds. Look at this AM battle. Carl Struhal versus Gilles Lalonde for P6. James Bowders, 3rd in the championship, hitting from P9. Let's watch Gilles Lalonde going for the pass on Darrell Kruger. Traffic cleared for Gilles Lalonde. Different approaches at straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde carries more speed. AM driver Carl Struhal accelerates harder. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde brakes later. AM driver Karl Struhal exits faster at straight 1. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde is faster in, but AM driver Karl Struhal gets the better exit from straight 1. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde with the entry, AM driver Karl Struhal with the exit at straight 1. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde and AM driver. Let's ride with Michael Ock in the number 202 Dallara IRA 18. Meanwhile, Daryl Kruger pitting from P7. Norm Graf has ducked into the pits from P9. Big moment, Daniel Kirby pits from the lead. 3 cars going at it. Karl Struhal, 6th in the championship, pitting from P5. The leader, Michael Ock, has pitted. Daryl Kruger still searching for that first win of the season after 4 starts. Daniel Kirby's pace is fading. Pit stop for Daryl Kruger, currently P7. Karl Struhal rejoins from the pits, 46 seconds stationary. Norm Graf, 2nd in the championship, pitting from P9. Matthew Overton heading into pit lane. Meanwhile, Paul Ibbotson pitting from P4. Daryl Kruger back out on track after 49 seconds. Switching to Michael Ock's onboard in the number 202 Dallara IRA 8. Pit stop complete for Daniel Kirby, 46 seconds. Pit stop for Karl Struhal, currently P6. Matthew Overton rejoins from the pits, 50 seconds stationary. Paul Ibbotson back out on track after 46 seconds. Pit stop complete for Karl Struhal, 46 seconds. Five laps remaining. Matthew Overton heading into pit lane. Paul Ibbotson, 7th in the championship, pitting from P4. Losing a bit of pace now, Michael Ock. Let's see it from Daniel Kirby's perspective in the number 90 Dallara IRAR 18. Daniel Kirby is struggling to maintain the pace. Michael Lock rejoins from the pits, 45 seconds stationary. Matthew Overton back out on track after 50 seconds. Something has gone wrong for Norm Graf in AM. Let's take a look. Returning to Daniel Kirby in P1 in PRO. Daniel Kirby maintaining the lead. Michael Lock has problems in PR. Now on board with Michael Lock driving the number 202 Dallara IRI 18. While we were elsewhere, Norm Graf stopped on track on lap 47. We're back with Michael Lock in P2 in PRO. Can James Bowders finally take that top step? 4 races in and still looking for a win. Lap 51 for Michael Lock, settling into the rhythm. Michael Lock cruising in P2. While the action has quieted down, let's revisit an earlier moment. 2 laps to go. Back to Michael Lock, running P2. Here's the view from Daniel Kirby's cockpit in the number 90 Dallara IR 18. Daniel Kirby's pace is fading. One left. Let's look back at when Norm Graf came to a halt on lap 47. Returning to Daniel Kirby in P1 in PRO. Times are coming down for Daniel Kirby. Issues for Michael Lock in the PRO. The lap times are starting to drop off for Michael Lock. And Daniel Kirby wins the PRO class. Daniel Kirby takes PRO win. Let's ride with Karl Struhel in the number 42 Dallara IR18. Karl Struhel, 6th in the championship. Let's see it from Daryl Kruger's perspective in the number 404 Dallara IR18. Switching to James Bowders on board, Daryl Kruger finishes P2 and AM 4th in the champion. Oh, Micah Locke had a significant problem on lap 53. Here's what we missed. Matthew Overton completes the PRO podium, 9th in the standings. James Bowders completes the AM podium, 3rd in the standings. We're back with James Bowders in P3 and AM. Let's ride with Paul Ibbotson in the number 165 Dallara IR18.
Looks like that's everybody.
Great. Super race, everybody. What a long, hard race. Well done, everybody. Paul, I'm going to have to look at the replay afterwards to see what happened there. I'm really sorry if I cut in.
No, that was me. That was me, Matthew.
Oh, okay. I suddenly saw you in my mirror. I went, oh, no.
Yeah, I kind of dived on the inside.
Yeah. Mika, what happened to you? I was getting ready for you to pass me on the straight, and then suddenly you were gone.
Yeah, I couldn't handle those primaries. No good.
Okay.
Terrible.
Practicing on those. Yeah, should have got some practice on those.
Well,
Thanks,
the two
Matt.
of you well ahead of the rest of the field here. Daniel taking the win, Micah taking second, and I'll be happy with third. And then it was Carl, Daryl, and James picking up the podium on the AM side. So good racing, everybody. Lots of fun.
When you don't have pace.
Good riding around.
Did you go with 2 stops, Gilles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you have no pace. That's the only thing you can rely on.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew it when I passed you the way I did. I was like, he's not stopping again. But me and Daryl were racing our brains out, and I knew we were both going to stop again.
I was screwed at the start having to do a stop and go.
Oh yeah, I seen your
Yeah,
lap
that's
times. Yeah, you were clicking off some quick ones. That's a good race, Daryl.
Hey, Frank, just bad connections all night, I saw.
Yeah, I was hoping for some more laps, and then I couldn't get you.
Yeah.
Well, when
so-
you pitted, I came out and I pushed the pass everywhere I could on the next lap, and that's what got me the advantage, I think. And then I still had push to pass to go after that, so it worked in my favor that way.
Yeah, I didn't use
Matthew?
that.
Only at the end did I use it.
I got caught out on the opening lap, the competition lap, and ended up spinning myself, avoiding running over Frank. And then that put me like 10, 11 seconds back. And from that point, it was just catching up slowly during the race. I turned my mix all the way down to 4.
Yeah, did you
and
go
I
2
was
stops?
able to extend and extend and extend. And then on my final stop, I was able to go back up to a full 8 and just burn it up. And I ended up the race with only like 3 seconds worth